Every country on this planet is different. Some are fully developed, some are developing, while some are underdeveloped and struggling to drive their economic growth. A nation can have special and abundant resources to emerge as the most powerful country in the world. Defining the world's most powerful countries is a more complex process than one might imagine. Power comes in many forms, from military might to economic strength, political influence, and cultural impact. Today we try to rank the top 15 most powerful countries in the world. Okay, let's go to our video. Welcomes to our channel. Today our top 15 most powerful countries in the world ranking video. We started from number 15. Number 15 on our list is Italy. Italy, a European country with a long Mediterranean coastline, has left a powerful mark on Western culture and cuisine. Its capital, Rome, is home to the Vatican as well as landmark art and ancient ruins. Italy's history started with the Etruscans, an ancient civilization that was eventually supplanted by the Romans in the 3rd century BC. Italy's city-states were the first to embrace the European Renaissance. The country became unified in the 19th century. Based on current projections, Italy has already seen its population peak of 60.67 million people in 2017. Italy has begun a population decline that is expected to shrink the population to 40.18 million by the end of the century. In some ways, Italy's economy, the fourth largest in the Eurozone, is essentially two economies, a higher growth economy in the developed industrial north and a more sluggish one in the less developed south. Italy's main exports are machinery and transport equipment, chemicals, apparel and wine. Italy is a member of several international organizations, among them the European Union and the United Nations. It's also a charter member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Number 14 on our list is Turkey. Turkey, or Turkey, officially the Republic of Turkey, is a transcontinental country located mainly on the Anatolian Peninsula in Western Asia, with a small portion on the Balkan Peninsula in Southeast Europe. Turkey was founded in 1923. Turkey is home to a unique intersection of culture as the nation bridges Asia with Europe. The country is overwhelmingly Sunni Muslim, though influences of bygone Roman and Byzantine rule pepper the streets and skyline. Extravagant mosques and cathedrals can both be found within blocks of the Grand Bazaar in the city of Istanbul. In 2010, the population was estimated to be 72.75 million, and now it is over 76 million. The rate of growth in Turkey is projected to decrease as we progress further into the 21st century. While the population will continue to grow, it will do so slowly. The forecasted population for 2020 is 83.8 million and it isn't expected to hit 90 million until around 2035. Increased privatization in finance and other sectors helped create a dynamic and resilient economy attractive to foreign investment. Though balance sheet deficits remain, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development expects Turkey to be one of its fastest growing members in the coming years. Advancements also have been made in education and health, but the nation continues to lag behind European Union standards on human rights issues, including the repression of a sizable Kurdish minority population. Turkey is a founding member of the United Nations and the OECD. It is also active in NATO, the Council of Europe and other international organizations.
Number 13 on our list is India. India, officially the Republic of India, is a country in South Asia. It is the 7th largest country by area, the 2nd most populous country, and the most populous democracy in the world. For many years of its long history, India faced incursions from the north by Turks, Arabs, Persians, and others. By the 19th century, Great Britain became the dominant power on the subcontinent. After years of non-violent struggle against British rule, India gained its independence in 1947. India's population continues to grow fairly steadily as the years progress. Most notably, the population is growing faster than China's. India is expected to surpass China as the world's most populous country around 2024, but like China, the growth is expected to stagnate and eventually decrease in the latter half of the 21st century. India has a fast-growing, diverse economy with a large, skilled workforce. But because of its population, it's also one of the poorest countries in the world based on income and gross national product per capita. Although agriculture employs the most workers, services are the major source of economic growth. Due to its educated, English-speaking workforce, India has become an important center of information technology services, business outsourcing services and software workers. India is a member of several international organizations, including the United Nations, the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank.
Number 12 on our list is Canada. Canada is a country in North America. Its 10 provinces and 3 territories extend from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean and northward into the Arctic Ocean, covering over 9.98 million square kilometers, making it the world's second-largest country by total area. Although the Norse briefly settled in Canada during the 10th century, European exploration accelerated in the 1500s. France and Britain angled for control over the region, with the British cementing their dominance in the year 1763. The country was a collection of British colonies until it became a self-governing dominion in 1867. Canadians pride themselves on encouraging all of their citizens to honor their own cultures. In 1971, Canada adopted a national policy of multiculturalism, which celebrates the country's diversity. Canada's current population is 37.74 million people. The population is growing at a steady pace and, based on current projections, will surpass 50 million by 2070. Canada is a high-tech industrial society with a high standard of living. Trade agreements in the 1980s and 1990s dramatically bolstered trade with the US, and now the two counties are each other's largest trading partners. While the service sector is Canada's biggest economic driver, the country is a significant exporter of energy, food and minerals. Canada ranks third in the world in proven oil reserves and is the world's fourth largest oil producer. Canada is a member of the United Nations, through which it has participated in many peacekeeping missions. It is also a member of NATO and the Commonwealth of Nations.
Number 11 on our list is Israel. Israel, a Middle Eastern country on the Mediterranean Sea, is regarded by Jews, Christians and Muslims as the biblical Holy Land. Its most sacred sites are in Jerusalem. Within its old city, the Temple Mount complex includes the Dome of the Rock Shrine, the historic Western Wall, Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Israel's financial hub, Tel Aviv, is known for its Bauhaus architecture and beaches. According to current projections, Israel's population is expected to continue growing throughout the rest of the 21st century. As of 2020, the population is 8.66 million people. By 2050, the population is expected to reach 12.72 million people, and by 2099, the population is expected to be 18.06 million people. This means that by the end of the century, Israel's population will be more than double what it is today. Israel has a technologically advanced market economy with cut diamonds, high-technology equipment and pharmaceuticals among its major exports. The country is very highly developed in terms of life expectancy, education, per capita income and other human development index indicators. But the country also has one of the most unequal economies in the Western world, with significant gaps between the rich and poor. Israel is a member of numerous international organizations, including the United Nations and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development.
Number 10 on our list is the United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates, or simply the Emirates, is a country in Western Asia. It is located at the eastern end of the Arabian Peninsula and shares borders with Oman and Saudi Arabia while having maritime borders in the Persian Gulf with Qatar and Iran. The Emirates that currently comprise the UAE were known as the Trucial States in the 19th century as a result of a series of agreements with Great Britain. In 1971, 6 of these states merged to form the UAE, a 7th joined in 1972. After growing by over 5 million people from 2000 to 2010, population growth in the United Arab Emirates has slowed down significantly. The population currently stands at 9.89 million people and is projected to continue growing until 2033, when it will hit its peak at 10.71 million people. The population is then expected to decline very slowly and plateau, ending the 21st century with about 9.03 million people. Prior to the discovery of oil in the mid-20th century, the UAE's economy was based primarily on the fishing and pearl industry. When oil exports began in the 1960s, the country's economy rapidly transformed. The UAE is known for its 2 largest cities, Dubai and Abu Dhabi, which draw millions of tourists each year. Dubai, a regional business hub known for its sleek skyscrapers, is home to the largest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. Abu Dhabi is the seat of the Federal National Council and serves as the national capital of the UAE. The UAE is a member of the United Nations, OPEC, the World Trade Organization and several other international organizations.
Number 9 on our list is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, officially the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is a country on the Arabian Peninsula in Western Asia. It has a land area of about 2,150,000 square kilometers, making it the 5th largest country in Asia, the 2nd largest in the Arab world, and the largest in Western Asia. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is ruled by a monarch, with assistance from 12 appointed ministers. The king, officially the custodian of the 2 holy mosques in this Islamic state, has always been a direct relative of the nation's 1932 founder. Limited democracy was extended to men in 2005, and women are just beginning their path to equal voting and other human rights. Saudi Arabia's current population is 34.81 million people and is projected to grow until 2060. Based on current projections, the population will reach its peak in 2060 at 45.35 million people and will begin to slowly decline after 2061. Once the center of early civilization's Fertile Crescent, oil reserves were found in Saudi Arabia's deserts soon after the nation was founded, quickly making it the world's top exporter and bringing skyrocketing economic growth. Saudi Arabia is estimated to sit on a quarter of the world's supply of oil but is seeking ways to diversify and reduce its oil dependency due to high unemployment rates and a sizable foreign workforce. Saudi Arabia's recent membership in the World Trade Organization has helped open it up to foreign investment. It is a founding member of OPEC and a member of other international organizations.
Number 8 on our list is South Korea. South Korea, an East Asian nation on the southern half of the Korean peninsula, shares one of the world's most heavily militarized borders with North Korea. It's equally known for its green, hilly countryside dotted with cherry trees and centuries-old Buddhist temples, plus its coastal fishing villages, subtropical islands and high-tech cities such as Seoul, the capital. According to current projections, South Korea is expected to hit its peak population of 51.35 million people by 2024. South Korea's population growth rate has slowed significantly, decreasing from 0.1% to 0.09% from 2019 to 2020. Liberated from Japan in 1945 at the end of World War II, South Korea was invaded by communist forces in North Korea a few years later. Aid requested by the United Nations helped end the 3-year war and support the South on its way to democracy. A critical divide between the two nations along the center of the peninsula remains. South Korea's high-tech, service-based economy is a foreign investment success story, becoming the first recipient of OECD Development Assistance Committee funds to later become a donor of the funds. The nation has seen steady growth and poverty reduction since the 1960s and is now the world's 7th largest exporter and the 11th largest economy overall. South Korea is a member of many international organizations, including the United Nations, G20, Association of Southeast Asian Nations Regional Forum, and World Trade Organization.
Number 7 on our list is France. France, in Western Europe, encompasses medieval cities, alpine villages, and Mediterranean beaches. Paris, its capital, is famed for its fashion houses, classical art museums including the Louvre, and monuments like the Eiffel Tower. The country is also renowned for its wines and sophisticated cuisine. Lascaux's ancient cave drawings, Lyon's Roman theatre, and the vast Palace of Versailles attest to its rich history. Starting in the Middle Ages, France evolved through kingdom, empire, and finally, into a republic. It was one of the first nations to champion the rights of the individual. France today is a democracy with a separation of power falling between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government. According to current projections, France's population is expected to reach its peak at 67.68 million people in 2045, after which it will decline slowly back down to 65.55 million people by the end of the century. The French economy is one of the world's largest and is a mixture of private enterprise and government involvement. Tourism is a major contributor to the economy. France generally tops the list of most visited countries. Other major economic sectors include industry, agriculture, energy, and defense. The country is one of the world's top exporters of weapons. France is a founding member of the United Nations and has a permanent seat on its Security Council. Other major groups it belongs to include the European Union, World Trade Organization, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and NATO.
Number 6 on our list is Japan. Japan is an island country in East Asia. It is situated in the northwest Pacific Ocean and is bordered on the west by the Sea of Japan while extending from the Sea of Okhotsk in the north toward the East China Sea, the Philippine Sea, and Taiwan in the south. The country can trace its political unification to the late 4th and early 5th centuries BC. Civilization flourished in the late 8th to the late 12th centuries, followed by even more centuries of military rule. The country was isolated from the early 1600s to the mid-19th century, at which point its ports opened up to the west. Japan had grand territorial ambitions in the 1900s, invading several countries, only to be defeated in World War II. Japan's population has been declining since 2009. In 2009, the population was 128.56 million and is expected to be 126.48 million by the end of 2020. The population is expected to fall below 100 million by 2058. The nation with the third largest economy in the world, Japan has largely bounced back from the manufacturing disruption caused by the 2011 earthquake and tsunami disaster. The country is among the world's largest producers of motor vehicles, electronic equipment, and steel. The service sector makes up the highest percentage of the economy in terms of gross domestic product and employment. Japan is a member of several international organizations, including the United Nations, the Asian Development Bank and the World Bank.
Number 5 on our list is the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom, made up of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, is an island nation in northwestern Europe. England, the birthplace of Shakespeare and the Beatles, is home to the capital, London, a globally influential center of finance and culture. England is also the site of Neolithic Stonehenge, Bath's Roman Spa and centuries-old universities at Oxford and Cambridge. The nation's global influence has its roots in the British Empire, formed during the European colonial era and peaked in the early 20th century before embarking on decolonization following World War II. The United Kingdom of today dates to the formation of the medieval Kingdom of England, and later, the establishment of a constitutional monarchy and parliamentary democracy in the 17th century. Current projections have the United Kingdom's population surpassing 75 million in 2060 and experiencing continued growth throughout the century, reaching 77.97 million in 2099. The United Kingdom is expected to surpass the population of Germany around 2080. The capital city, London, is a major international financial center and one of the most visited cities in the world. The banking and tourism industries are parts of a larger service sector that powers much of the nation's economic growth. The Industrial Revolution began in the UK, and manufacturing, led by the automobile and aerospace industries, is a declining though a still significant part of the nation's economy. The United Kingdom is a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council and is a member of major international organizations including the European Union, the World Trade Organization, the World Bank, NATO and the Group of 20.
Number 4 on our top 15 most powerful countries list is Germany. Germany is a Western European country with a landscape of forests, rivers, mountain ranges and the North Sea beaches. It has over 2 millennia of history. Berlin, its capital, is home to art and nightlife scenes, the Brandenburg Gate and many sites relating to World War II. Munich is known for its Oktoberfest and beer halls, including the 16th-century Hofbrauhaus. Frankfurt, with its skyscrapers, houses the European Central Bank. Germanic-speaking tribes in Northern Europe date to antiquity, but the modern German state took shape in the 19th century. Defeats in the 2 world wars of the 20th century left the country divided, and reunification occurred in 1990 following the collapse of the East German Communist state. According to current projections, Germany's population is expected to peak at the end of 2021 with 83.9 million people. By the end of the century, Germany's population is expected to fall to 74.73 million people. Because of this, Great Britain and France will both surpass Germany's population. Germany employs a social market economy, open market capitalism, that also carries certain social service guarantees. Its economy is one of the world's largest, and Germany is one of the globe's leading importers and exporters. Services, which include industries such as telecommunications, healthcare and tourism, contribute the greatest amount to the country's economy. Industry and agriculture are other significant economic sectors. Germany belongs to major international organizations, including the United Nations, the European Union, the Group of 20, NATO and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development.
Number 3 on our list is Russia. The scale of Russia is difficult to imagine. It is the world's largest country by landmass, nearly twice as big as Canada, the world's second largest nation, and covers all of Northern Asia and much of Eastern Europe. It shares land borders with more than a dozen countries and shares sea borders with Japan and the United States. Russia as a nation dates back more than a millennium, and authoritarian rule has marked much of its history. It was the largest and leading republic of the Soviet Union, which was formed in 1922. Following the Soviet collapse in 1991, Russia became an independent nation. Russians directly elect their president, and the federal government includes legislative and judicial branches, as well as a presidency possessing extensive authority. Between 1993 and 2008, Russia's population saw a considerable decline in its population from 148.37 million to 143.25. During this time, Russia experienced low birth rates and abnormally high death rates. Since then, the population has increased again to 145.93 million. However, the population is expected to reach its peak at the end of 2020 and is projected to start declining again. Russia has one of the world's largest economies that is powered by its extensive natural resources. Top industries include oil and natural gas production, with agriculture, forestry, fishing and manufacturing serving as other economic drivers. Oil and natural gas, in particular, represent large portions of the country's economy. Russia also is one of the world's largest exporters of military weapons, trailing only the United States. Russia is a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council and is a member of major international organizations, including the Group of 20, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, the Council of Europe and the World Trade Organization.
Number 2 on our list is China. China, officially the People's Republic of China, is a country in East Asia. It is the world's most populous country, with a population exceeding 1.4 billion people. China spans 5 geographical time zones and borders 14 countries by land, the most of any country in the world, tied with Russia. Home to one of the world's oldest civilizations, China has been ruled by the Communist Party since 1949, when the nation was established as the People's Republic of China. The country is the world's most populous and is considered the second largest by land mass. According to current projections, China's population will finally peak in 2030 with a shrinking labor force and an over 65 population of 240 million. Only Japan has aged faster than China. China has been one of the world's fastest-growing major economies since former leader Deng Xiaoping installed reforms in 1978. A single-party socialist state, China has since moved from being a centrally planned to a market-based economy. China's economy is the world's second largest, trailing only the United States. China is recognized as possessing nuclear weapons. It has been a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council since 1971 and is a member of several international and regional organizations, including the World Trade Organization and the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation.
Number 1 on our list is the United States of America. The U.S. is a country of 50 states covering a vast swath of North America, with Alaska in the northwest and Hawaii extending the nation's presence into the Pacific Ocean. Major Atlantic coast cities are New York, a global finance and culture center, and the capital Washington, D.C. Midwestern metropolis Chicago is known for influential architecture, and on the West Coast, Los Angeles's Hollywood is famed for filmmaking. The American colonies declared independence from the British Empire in 1776 and were recognized as a new nation in 1783. The country nearly split in two during a civil war in the mid-1800s, but regained its footing in the 20th century, during which time it was on the winning side of both world wars. Unlike China and India, the United States population is expected to continue to grow throughout the century with no foreseeable decline. By 2067, the United States population is expected to surpass 400 million people. The population growth in the United States is mainly attributed to high rates of immigration, which have decreased since 2016, and the natural increase. The United States economy is the world's largest in terms of gross domestic product, and also the most technologically powerful. The country's most significant exports are computers and electrical machinery, vehicles, chemical products, food, live animals, and military equipment. The U.S. also has the world's largest coal reserves. The United States often takes a leading role in international organizations and was a founding force behind institutions such as the United Nations, NATO, and the World Bank. These are the top 15 most powerful countries in the world. With that, we end our video. If you want to watch our more videos, subscribe and join with us. Thanks for watching.